My name is Emma, and for the longest time, I truly believed my family loved me. Not the perfect kind of love, but the quiet, reliable kind. I paid their rent, covered their debts, helped my brother with tuition, and supported my parents during every so-called emergency. I never once hesitated because that's what family was supposed to do. Help each other. Even when it meant dipping into my own savings or putting off my dreams, I kept going. I told myself that they cared, that they were grateful, that one day maybe they'd say thank you. But all of that shattered in a single moment. One video that exposed everything. It happened on a random evening while I was making dinner. My aunt sent me a video. No message, no context. I assumed it was an old family clip, something nostalgic. But the moment I heard my mother's voice, my heart stopped. Emma should be grateful. She'd be nothing without us, she said. Then came my father's chuckle, calling me a pathetic failure, followed by my aunt, the very one who sent the video, casually stating, "If Emma ever stops sending money, we just guilt her into it. She's too soft to say no." I froze, unable to breathe, my phone trembling in my hand. It was them, my family, not in jest, not in frustration, but calmly, callously, dissecting me like I was nothing more than a wallet with a heartbeat. Then suddenly, this message has been unsent. My aunt had realized her mistake and deleted it, probably hoping I hadn't watched. But I had. I had heard every word. At that moment, something inside me broke. Years of self-sacrifice, of believing I was doing the right thing, crushed by a few sentences, and yet I didn't react. Not immediately. I didn't call, I didn't text, I just sat there quietly, thinking. They thought they got away with it. They thought I was still naive, still loyal. But that was their mistake. Because that night, I made a decision. No more blind devotion. No more assuming love was real just because we shared blood. If they could laugh about manipulating me behind my back, they didn't deserve my kindness. And for the first time in years, I was no longer afraid of losing them. Because what I had lost was never love to begin with. It was just obligation wearing a mask. The morning after I watched that video, something felt different. The sun still rose through my curtains. My coffee still brewed like every other day, but I felt disconnected from the routine I had built around pleasing everyone but myself. As I sat at the kitchen table, phone in hand, a message from my mom popped up. "Morning, sweetie, just checking in. Hope you're doing well." Too sweet, too polite. My instincts kicked in, and sure enough, a few minutes later, another message arrived. "By the way, rent is due soon. Can you send it by Friday?" There it was, the real reason. The same cycle I had lived in for years. A quick greeting to soften the ask, then straight into the request. My fingers hovered over the screen. Normally, I would have replied without hesitation, something like, "Of course," or "Sure, I'll transfer it this afternoon." Maybe I'd even apologize for not sending it sooner, just to avoid making them feel uncomfortable. But not this time. I erased my usual reply and typed something I had never sent before. "I can't this month." Just 4 words, simple, direct, and completely unlike me. I pressed send and felt a strange stillness settle over me. It didn't take long for the reply to come in. "What do you mean you can't?" she texted, almost immediately. I could practically feel the shock radiating through the screen. I hadn't said no in years, maybe ever. And now, at the first sign of resistance, panic was setting in. A few more texts followed. "Emma, this is serious. We're counting on you." Then from my aunt, "Hey, sweetie, your mom's freaking out. Everything okay?" I almost laughed. It was so predictable. They weren't asking if I was okay. No concern about my health, my finances, or my emotional state. Just panic about the money. That's when I knew I was right. This had never been about love or mutual support. It was always about what I could provide. I replied simply, "I have some unexpected expenses this month. I can't send anything, sorry." Then I put the phone down and waited. And what followed was silence, a silence more telling than any scream. I had said no, and they didn't know how to respond. Not with empathy, not with understanding. Just confusion, guilt trips, and emotional blackmail. For the first time, I realized they didn't know me at all. They knew the version of me that always gave in. And now that version was gone. The moment my mother replied with, "What could possibly be more important than your family?" I knew I was entering unfamiliar territory, where guilt would no longer be my guide. For years, that line would have been enough to make me cave. I would have felt selfish, ungrateful, like I had failed my role as the dependable daughter. But this time, instead of replying, I let the message sit there, unanswered. Then came the next attempt, as expected. You know your brother has no way to cover rent. If he gets kicked out, that's on you. Classic, the brother card, a familiar weapon in the family arsenal. My brother Jason had been relying on me for years, his rent, his phone bill, even his gym membership, and somehow he always managed to make it my responsibility. Next came the message that nearly made me throw my phone across the room. We raised you, Emma. We took care of you when you had nothing. Is this how you repay us? The words struck a deep chord, but not because they were true. Quite the opposite. When I had nothing, they were never there. I put myself through school working multiple jobs. I skipped meals, worked overnight shifts, and studied through exhaustion. My parents weren't supporting me, they were draining me. My aunt chimed in again. Sweetheart, don't do this. We're family. Just send the rent and everything will be fine. Fine for who? That was the question they never asked. Because it had never been about balance or fairness or shared burdens. It was about what I could do for them, what I could give. As the panic built on their end, I felt something shift inside me. For years I had been terrified of this moment, of being cut off, of being branded as the selfish one. But now I saw it differently. Their reaction wasn't love, it wasn't concern, it was entitlement. The moment I stopped giving, they started unraveling, not because they missed me, but because they missed what I provided. And then, just as I thought it couldn't get more blatant, a message came from my father. You're being selfish. This family needs you. Grow up and do the right thing. It was the final straw. The last mask dropped. No more fake sweetness, no more subtle manipulation, just pure, unapologetic demand. That was the moment I truly woke up. They didn't love me for me. They loved the version of me who paid their bills, solved their problems, and never said no. And as soon as I stopped being useful, I became the enemy. But they were right about one thing. Something had changed. I was growing up, and this time, doing the right thing meant choosing myself first. The moment Jason showed up at my door, I knew things were about to escalate. It was early, too early for casual visits, and the knocking was loud, impatient, almost frantic. I opened the door to find my brother standing there, his face a mixture of exhaustion and fury. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, eyes bloodshot, clothes wrinkled, and that signature entitled scowl etched deeply across his face. Are you serious, Emma? He snapped, his voice like a blade. What the hell is wrong with you? I didn't flinch. I'd spent years softening under that tone, apologizing, backpedaling, making excuses for my own boundaries. But not today. Good morning to you too, I replied, arms crossed, leaning casually against the doorframe. Don't do that, he growled. Don't act like this isn't a big deal. You blocked everyone. Mom's freaking out. Dad's losing it, and you're just, cutting us off, pretending we don't exist. I shrugged. I don't know, Jason. Maybe I just got tired of being treated like a piggy bank. He laughed bitterly. Oh my God, not this again. Yes, this again. I'd been paying his rent, his bills, even his gym membership for years. The one time I said no? The entire family unraveled. That wasn't love. That was dependence, exploitation. He started to argue, but I cut him off. Don't pretend you care about me, I said coldly. I saw the video. His expression froze. Fear flickered in his eyes. What video? The one where you all sat around laughing, calling me a pathetic failure, saying I should be grateful for paying your bills. He shifted, defensive. It wasn't serious, we were just joking. You're being dramatic. Dramatic? I snapped. Do you know what it feels like to hear your own family talk about you like that? To realize everything you've done meant nothing? His mouth opened, closed. He had no words. You want money? I said, my voice dropping low. Get a job. You want someone to take care of you? Find someone else. I'm done. He stared at me, like he didn't recognize the person standing in front of him. You don't mean that, he muttered. I do, I said simply. Silence fell between us before his face twisted in bitterness. Fine, be a selfish bitch, but don't come crawling back when you have no one left. I didn't blink. I have someone. I have me. And with that, I closed the door. For the first time in years, I felt powerful. Not cruel, not cold, just in control. Because the truth is, the people who truly love you don't guilt you into sacrifice. They don't mock your generosity or measure your worth by your usefulness. I had lost a family, but I had found myself. And for me, that was finally enough. The day I took control of my life didn't come with fireworks or a big fight. It started quietly, with an email. After years of carrying the weight of my family's financial problems, I finally hit my breaking point. I'd been paying my parents' rent, covering my brother's tuition, which, by the way, he never finished, even picking up random expenses like groceries or a new heater when theirs broke. I told myself that's what family does, but when I accidentally received a video, one I wasn't meant to see, everything changed. In the video, I heard my mother call me a pathetic failure. My father laughed and said I was only good for paying bills. My aunt added, "Just guilt her. She's too soft to say no." It wasn't just painful, it was eye-opening. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every sacrifice I'd made, every paycheck I'd split 3 ways every time I said it's okay when they missed a thank you. And now they were mocking me for it. So I didn't yell. I didn't confront them right away. I waited, I watched, I let the next rent request come in like clockwork. $1,200 due by Friday. But this time, I responded with just 3 words. I can't help. The fallout was immediate. My mother called me selfish. My dad said I was ungrateful after all they'd done for me. My brother showed up at my apartment at 6:45 a.m., pounding on the door like the building was on fire. But I didn't back down. Instead, I opened my laptop. I dug through my banking history. I made a list, dates, amounts, reasons. Over 5 years, I had spent nearly $87,000 supporting people who thought I was a joke. I emailed them a spreadsheet titled, "Everything I've Done for You." At the top, I wrote, "This isn't about money, it's about respect. I've given all I can. I'm done." Then I sent it, and I logged out. Was it harsh? Maybe, but it was necessary. American culture often praises sacrifice, especially in families. We're taught to give until it hurts. But here's the thing, boundaries are not betrayal. Saying no to toxic behavior doesn't make you the villain. For the first time, I stopped being their ATM and started being my own advocate. That's what this was about. Not revenge, not pettiness, but peace. And you know what? I don't regret a thing. They say family is everything, but what happens when family forgets that love is a two-way street? For years, Emma had sacrificed nearly every part of herself to support the people who were supposed to support her. She had worked overtime shifts, passed on vacations, and even put off buying her own home just to keep her parents afloat and her brother enrolled in school. It wasn't just money. It was her time, her peace of mind, her sense of self. But the moment she stopped giving, their true colors showed. One by one, the calls turned into accusations. The texts turned into ultimatums. And when she finally drew a line in the sand, her family crossed it. Showing up at her home, uninvited, shouting through the door, desperate not for reconciliation, but for control. That moment, Emma realized she'd spent so long afraid of being alone, she didn't see how lonely she already was. What she thought was family love was, in fact, conditional loyalty. She had confused obligation with affection. And now that she was setting boundaries, healthy, necessary boundaries, she was being punished for it. Her brother, who hadn't held a steady job in years, demanded support. Her parents, who never once asked how she was doing, called her selfish. And when she refused to open her wallet, they tried to shame her into silence. But Emma didn't cave. Instead of reacting in anger, she responded with clarity. She gathered every receipt, every dollar she'd given, and sent them a single email, a final invoice, not of money owed, but of gratitude never given. It wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. It was about standing up for herself after a lifetime of being told she didn't matter unless she was giving something. To the outside world, her decision may have seemed harsh, but to Emma, it was the first breath of peace she'd taken in years. She wasn't cruel. She was courageous. She didn't destroy her family. She simply stopped allowing them to destroy her. And that's a message that resonates deeply, especially with those of us who have given more than we've received. There comes a point in life where peace becomes more valuable than approval, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and for those around you, is to finally say, enough. Emma's story is a reminder. Love should never be measured in money, and family should never make you feel small. If someone only shows up when they need something, they're not showing up for you. They're showing up for themselves. And if walking away from that means finding peace, then maybe the bravest act of love is walking away at all. For Emma, peace wasn't something she stumbled upon. It was something she fought for, step by quiet step. After a lifetime of giving, sacrificing, and always saying yes, she finally found the courage to say no. And that one small word changed everything. Her family had grown used to her generosity, counting on her like a monthly paycheck. When rent was due or bills came up, they didn't ask, they expected. Her father never once asked how she was holding up. Her mother masked manipulation in sweet-sounding guilt. Her brother never said thank you, only when can you send it? And Emma, like so many who were raised to equate love with loyalty, kept giving until she couldn't anymore. It all changed with one accidental video, one moment of truth they never meant her to see. Her parents and aunt, laughing behind her back, called her a pathetic failure, useful only for paying their bills. Her stomach turned, her heart broke, but her eyes opened. That moment stripped away every illusion she had built to survive. And instead of confronting them in fury or tears, she did something wiser. She waited. She let them believe she was still in the dark, still soft, still too easy to manipulate. And when they asked for rent again, like clockwork, she quietly replied, "I can't." What followed was a storm of guilt trips, threats, and a doorstep confrontation that tested every boundary she tried to set. But Emma held firm. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She simply refused. Because she knew this wasn't just about 1 month's payment. This was about years of being used, of being made to feel small in the name of family. And when her brother, red-eyed and angry, tried to shame her back into submission, she said the one thing that finally set her free. "You don't get to call me selfish for choosing myself." Emma's story is powerful because it reflects something many older Americans know too well, that family can be complicated, that love can be taken for granted, that sometimes the people you sacrifice most for are the ones who see you the least. But it also reminds us that dignity, peace, and boundaries are worth fighting for, no matter your age, no matter your history. There is no shame in choosing to protect your peace. There is courage in walking away from what harms you, even when it wears the face of someone you once trusted. Emma didn't raise her voice. She didn't seek revenge. She simply told the truth and lived it. And in doing so, she found the greatest reward of all: freedom. Not from people, but from the guilt that kept her chained. She may have lost their approval, but she gained herself. And that, at any age, is a victory worth claiming. As we grow older, we carry with us a lifetime of lessons, some gentle, others hard-earned. Emma's story reminds us of one of the most painful and powerful lessons of all, that love without respect is not love at all. For years, Emma gave everything she had to support her family. She paid the bills, covered rent, and made sacrifices that cost her time, money, and peace of mind. She believed, like many of us were taught, that family comes first, that being a good daughter meant giving, no matter the cost. But somewhere along the way, that belief became a trap. Her family didn't see her generosity as love. They saw it as duty. Her value became tied not to who she was, but to what she could provide. And then a slip of a video exposed the truth. Behind her back, the people she trusted most mocked her, called her a failure, and joked about manipulating her into giving more. That betrayal cut deep, not just because of what was said, but because it shattered the illusion she had clung to for so long, that she mattered to them. But here's where Emma's story changes. She didn't explode in anger. She didn't try to force an apology. Instead, she took a quiet stand. She said no. And in that moment, she began to reclaim her self-worth. For many older adults, especially those who've raised families or played the role of caretaker, Emma's journey is painfully familiar. We give, hoping it will be appreciated, hoping it will be enough. But sometimes, the hardest truth is realizing that not everyone who calls us family acts like one. The lesson isn't about cutting people off, it's about drawing boundaries. It's about recognizing when love becomes expectation and generosity turns into obligation. And it's about understanding that saying no doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. We all deserve relationships built on mutual respect, not guilt. We all deserve to be seen for who we are, not just for what we can offer. And sometimes, the most loving thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away from the roles that no longer serve us. Emma's quiet courage teaches us that peace is something we can choose, even late in life, that we are never too old to start valuing ourselves, and that while family may be forever in name, it should also be a source of kindness, not control. So if you've ever felt unappreciated, unseen, or used, remember this. Your worth is not defined by what you give to others, but by the love and dignity you give to yourself. You are allowed to say enough, and in doing so, you just might find the peace you've been searching for all along.